Mate, how you going? Are we doing that Ask Dave thing? What do you got for me? Just look, sit down. Might as well get into it, eh? First question. How can we republish an IA article on our website or newspaper or magazine? Or book, could be a book. Anyway, look, it's very easy. Independent Australia is Creative Commons, which means, well, you'll note at the end of each article there's a little logo, Creative Commons. And I think, as far as I know, we're one of only two news publications with the conversation that is Creative Commons. And what that means is you can republish our articles as long as you properly credit them, like with the name of the author and our name, a link back to the original, and yeah, that's basically about it. So you can republish your stuff on your blog or on your newspaper, whatever, as long as you credit us and do all that sort of stuff. Second question. Are you linked at all with the Independent, the London newspaper? The Independent. Well, get this a bit. The Independent is actually the Independent, whereas Independent Australia is Independent Australia. So we don't have a the. And the short answer to the question is, though we like the Independent, when I lived over in the UK for years, the Independent was one of my go-to reads. Actually was bought up, as I understand it, by when it was going broke, by a group of its senior staff. So it's a venerable magazine, but no, we're not in any way associated with it. Independent Australia is independent of the Independent. All right. Now the third question, and we get this a lot, and I blame the public education system for this question. Maybe not just the public, also the private. The education system, let's just say that. Number 3, how can you call yourself independent when you always seem to be beating up on conservative parties and politicians? Okay, and don't forget personalities too. We beat up on, conservative media people too. We're equal opportunity in that way. Well, look, independent. What does independent mean? Tell you what, Google it yourself. Let's go and have a look. Meaning of independent. Now, independent doesn't mean that you don't have an opinion, right? Doesn't mean that you go 6 articles that are positive to the Liberal Party and 6 articles that are positive about the Labor Party. That's not what independent means. Independent actually means free from outside control, not subject to another's authority. And Independent Australia is independent. We're not associated with any party. We're not associated with any other group. No one controls us. We are actually really, truly independent. Now, the second meaning is not depending on another for livelihood or subsistence. Well, we're not owned by a bank, or we're not funded by the unions or the universities. We don't have an agreement with Twiggy Forrest that we'll get bailed out if we go broke, for instance. We are actually literally independent. Now, there's a third meaning, noun, an independent person or body. And that's what we are. We're independent. We're not associated with any other group. Independent. Doesn't mean we don't have a perspective. If you look at our About page, in fact, let's have a note. Let's go and do that. Google Independent Australia, About. Oh, it's brought up Independence Australia. Also, we're not Independence Australia. We're not Independence Australia. They are a good organisation. Does some fine work in the health products field. Let's just say that. But anyway, yeah. Moving on. Independent Australia is a progressive journal. Progressive. We got it right there. Why do we beat up on conservative parties and politicians? Because they're not progressive. They're the opposite. They're conservative. If the Liberal Party decided to become actually liberal rather than, right-wing conservative, then we'd probably have lots of positive stories about them. There's a second reason too. It seems to me, and if you watch the ICAC recently with Gladys Berejiklian, that because Independent Australia is a organisation, website that focuses on anti-corruption, there's just a lot more corruption in the Conservative parties and politicians. There just is. It's like you could try to find a bit of corruption in the Progressives, but, and we do. Sometimes we do find it. But generally, you'll find it in the Conservatives a lot more. They like the money. So that's pretty much about it. So if you've got any questions for Ask Dave, then just email admin@independentaustralia.net, and make sure that you like Independent Australia on YouTube, that you share this video, and that you subscribe to Independent Australia. See you later.